Okay, so we're about to do part 2 of what I bought in the first half of 2020 video. I did film this all in one go, but it just got so long. I knew that I couldn't upload it as one single video, hence why I split this into 2. I'm ashamed actually that I got to a point where I needed to split this into 2 because that means that I just bought way too much perfume this year. I have no excuse. All I can do is blame COVID for having me at home all day, every day. Pre-COVID, and when I was going into the office on a daily basis, I was wearing, a scent of the day, and then I'd come home, have a shower, and maybe wear something at night. Now I'm wearing a scent of the morning, which is usually early morning, which is what I wear when I walk the dog or when I go to the gym or go do some exercise if you're in an area where you can't go to the gym. Our gyms opened a few weeks ago, so I am back at the gym now. And then I'll come home, I'll have a shower and I'll put something else on. And then by about mid-afternoon, I'm thinking, yeah, it's about time to spritz, to refreshen up. And so I'll spritz something else on. And then in the evening, I'll have a shower and I'll wear something else to bed. So I'm pretty much wearing 4 fragrances a day at the moment. And I have been for months now. And then there's the sampling of stuff on top of that as well, which is just out of control. Hence why I think this happened. Anyway, you're not here to hear me ramble on about this. You're here to see what else I bought. So let's roll the next part of the video. Okay, we are starting to get to the end now. This has been very long. I'm gonna have to cut so much of this out. The next 4 are from one house again. The perfumer is, or the house is Thierry Reintal Natural Perfumes, and I'm just really loving her fragrances. They are a very different feel from, I guess, what you would call the more commercial type fragrances and even some other niche houses. They are natural perfumes, so they definitely have a very different feel to them. Anyway, so there's 4 here. So the first one I'll talk about quickly is Rococo, which is a very dense white floral fragrance, and this is a statement fragrance. If you wear this, people are going to know about it. But it's a very, how do I want to say, it smells like, the smell is familiar to me. But I think it's familiar because of the white florals, and it smells kind of vintagey. So I figure it kind of, when I smell it, I kind of get this vision of walking into a store that has, that sells trinkets, and, like cushions and decor. That's kind of what, I don't know why I'm getting that image. Maybe there's a store that had a fragrance or something that they used to scent it, which was, very white floral dominant. But this is very dense. It's very vintagey, and oh yeah, I really love it. It dries down beautifully on the skin. The next one is called Dragon Boat. And again, this is another white floral, but this is more green. This is more of a green white floral to me. So it's a lot brighter. It's much more sparkly than the Rococo, which was also, which was very, very dense. And it's a very fresh smelling fragrance. So, I quite like spraying this on after a bath or a shower, or, on a bright sunny day. It's that kind of fragrance. Blue Lotus is the next one. This has gotten a lot of airtime lately, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. The very first fragrance that I bought from Thierry Reintal was Nefertum, and the reason I bought that was because at the time she didn't have Blue Lotus available. She had sold out of the previous batch, I guess, and she was still, creating this one, or this one was still sort of cooking, and so I bought Nefertum, and I loved Nefertum, and I've talked about that in a previous video as well. And I knew that I wanted to get this. And yeah, so when this became, when this was re-released, I jumped on it. I really, well, probably not as quickly as I should have, but I did, and I now have it. So I'm very happy about it. And the last one is Avant Gardenia. I think I have talked about this before, or maybe it was on my Instagram. I only bought the 10 ml of this one, but this is an avant-garde perfume based on gardenia. But the beauty of this is that Tion wanted to, it's avant-garde because she wanted to create the smell of gardenia without actually using gardenia. And I think she's done a pretty good job, actually. But this smells to me like a lush tropical island without the coconut. So it smells, it's that beautiful white floral, but it's almost like you're, I think I've described it previously as you're on a beach or you're on an island somewhere that has a dense tropical forest, and you're walking close to the edge of the forest and you can smell the greenness of the forest and the you know, the dense undergrowth and the dampness of it. But there's all these white florals, there's all these gardenias and other white florals just in bloom. So they're mingling with that green, sort of dense, damp smell. It's really, really good. The next two are also from the same house. One of these was also a blind buy, but it was a considered blind buy, again, like Bengal Rouge was. So there was 2 blind buys out of this lineup. And this one is Bewitching Yasmine from Penhaligon's. It was a blind buy because you can't actually get this in Australia. You know, it's not stocked in Australia. I bought this off somebody who had been overseas and picked it up, and it's amazing. It's really, really good. I've been loving wearing this one. It does kind of remind me a little bit of, if you were to combine Oud Bouquet by Maison Lancôme and Oud Vanille by Mancera, if they were somehow combined or had a baby or something, I feel like this is what you would get. So it's kind of, somebody described, I think my friend Emma described this as a sherbety vanilla, and it does have that. I think that's a great description because it's kind of fizzy smelling. But the oud in here is kind of, there's something about it that reminds me of Mancera's Oud Vanille, but it also has that sweetness and the depth and the denseness of Oud Bouquet. So it's kind of like a mix of both. If you're wanting something like Oud Bouquet, it doesn't smell the same as Oud Bouquet, but it's in that same family, I would say, then maybe this is worth a go. The next one is also Penhaligon's, and it's Cairo. Oh, I really, really love this fragrance. It's kind of, I want to say it's a rose oud, but I don't know if there's oud in here, but it's definitely very woody. So there's rose in here, it's woody. It's also balsamic. I think there's tobacco. I don't know. I smell tobacco in just about everything. So don't take my word on that. I haven't looked up the notes, but it's sort of spicy, but also sweet. There's a beautiful vanilla note in here. It's quite dark smelling without being dense. But I will say, I'm just a little bit disappointed with the longevity of this. I did go through, again, several samples of this, and every time I wore it, there were 2 people in my circle of people that would go, "What are you wearing? It smells really good." And that never happens, hardly ever for me. So I knew that this smells good on me. But the only problem is I do kind of have to re-spritz it because it doesn't last that long. I think after a couple of hours, it's pretty much a skin scent. And then probably within 4 hours, I'd probably have to reapply it because I think it would be almost gone. But I really love it. I also really love Halfeti, which I reviewed with Eve Spider Smells and Pep from the Sentinel on a live stream several weeks ago, and I really like that, but I think I'd be happy with just a decant of that. I don't know if I necessarily need to buy a bottle. Okay, we're at the end. Last two, also from the same house. Hang on, they're still in their boxes. I've got to take them out of the boxes. They're still in their boxes. I have worn them, but they're still in the boxes because I just ran out of room on the shelf, which is a reason why I need to declutter. So these are from the house of Parfums de Nicolas, and they are Baikal Leather and Musc Intense. I had originally intended, when I made these purchases, my intent was that I wanted to buy New York Intense. And then I sort of had a brain fade, I guess, and I decided that I wanted to wait until the warmer weather to get New York Intense. Because I really love New York Intense and the Patchouli Intense too, which is also really good. So I had a discovery set from this house last year, and I'd been wearing them and really enjoying them. And I already had bought Tonka Vanille or Vanille Tonka from this house. I bought that last year, and I was working my way through the discovery set basically. So Baikal Leather was not part of the discovery set. The discovery set is not all inclusive for this house. The reason being, they have so many fragrances. If you go to their website and look at the list of fragrances that they have, it's massive. Their range is huge. Patricia de Nicolai is the perfumer and the owner of Nicolai Parfums, and she was born into the Guerlain family. So I guess that explains why, A, that their range is so extensive, but B, they're all really good. I mean, there's several fragrances from this house that I'm dying to get. So Baikal Leather is a very light suede fragrance that has a touch of citrus, and it's also got a really nice vanilla note in it. So I really like this because, as I've said before, leather is not really my thing a lot of the time, but I really like the lighter leather notes, or when a leather is complementing a fragrance. I don't like leather dominant fragrance, but this one I really, really like. And I bought a bottle of that. And then Musc Intense is another one that was part of the discovery set, and I just really enjoyed it. It's a beautiful, clean musk fragrance, but it's not like the musk notes you get in some of the more commercial fragrances where, I don't know, it seems kind of really thin and watery, and it smells a bit, I don't know, really synthetic on my skin after a while. This kind of smells just really clean, but it still has, I don't know, still got some depth to it. I don't know how they've done it. I think it's because it's got the floral notes that it has in it. It's got a bit of rose and jasmine, but I wouldn't say that I can pick up rose, or maybe I can smell rose. Yeah, I think maybe I can smell the florals in this, but it has a denseness, but it has a softness about it too. And it doesn't smell sharp and synthetic like musk notes can in the more commercial fragrances, where you have those clean musk fragrances that really, for me, end up smelling a little bit synthetic and sour. It also has civet, amber and sandalwood in it. So, it's a really, really great fragrance. And so I decided that I wanted to get this because it does have more depth to it than a normal clean musk fragrance normally would. I wanted to get this because I thought it would work really well in wintertime, in the colder months, when, you know, I want to give my nose a bit of a break and have a bit of a clean smelling fragrance, have a day off from wearing those really heavy, dark, sweet fragrances. And it has worked perfectly. I really, really like this one. The more I wear this, the more I really love it. It's really good. So I still have yet to buy New York Intense from this house, because every time I go to buy it, I end up buying other things. They're very generous. They're very responsive. I don't buy, so because I want to buy the smaller bottles, and they have a whole range of sizes that you can buy. This is the 30 ml. You can also buy 15 ml travel sprays from them, and they're quite substantial. I mean, I also bought a couple of those, but I'm not showing them here. But you can, on my Instagram, if you're really interested to know what I got, You can go to my IGTV, and I did actually a short video of the fragrances that I bought. But again, they have a range of different sizes, and that's what I really like about them. But I can only get, if I want to buy from a local stockist here in Australia, I can only get the 100ml bottles, and I don't want 100ml bottles normally, so I'm really happy to buy direct from them, and they have been super responsive. Their customer service is amazing. I can't recommend them enough if you want to buy directly from them. And it came quickly. I mean, even during COVID, I think I had them within less than 2 weeks, all the way from Australia. So all the way to Australia, I should say. So I just realised that there were a couple more fragrances that I forgot to include in my list the other day, which I did buy between the period of January and June this year. The first one is Chanel Chance Eau Fraiche. This is a beautiful citrus scent. It's very clean and fresh smelling. It has great longevity, which is what I really like about it, because most citrus scents really just don't last on me at all. And I just feel really clean and fresh when I wear this, so I tend to wear this on hot days or when I'm exercising. The other one shown here is Herba Mimosa by Chloe as part of their Atelier de Fleurs line. I picked this up at the airport when I was flying to Japan in early February, and it was a bit of a rash purchase because the line had just been released in Australia. And I felt like I had an underrepresentation of Mimosa in my wardrobe, so I decided to pick this one up. This one is quite pretty. It's a very herbal green mimosa fragrance, and it is a very soft floral, and it's probably right in the ballpark of the type of fragrance that I normally wouldn't gravitate towards. And so you will have noticed that this was in my declutter list in my recent decluttering video, because as it turns out, I do have a couple of other mimosa fragrances in my wardrobe, and I tend to gravitate towards those more. Although, interestingly, over winter, I have found that I have actually picked this up a couple of times because it has that greenness and that freshness about it. I have actually worn it twice this winter, just as a fragrance to break up the monotony of the big heavy fragrances that we tend to wear in wintertime. So I'm kind of starting to reconsider my decision to declutter this one, but we'll have to wait and see how it performs in spring for me. Right, well that wraps it up. That wraps up all of the fragrances that I've bought in the first half of 2020. And this is a lot, but anyway, it does bring me quite a bit of joy. So on the other hand, it's crazy, but you know, you only live once, right? Anyway, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope no one was offended by it. And let me know, if there's anything in here that you were curious about. I know I didn't get time to really go through them in great depth. But if there's anything in here that you want a more thorough review on, please let me know in the comments below. And otherwise, I'm just really curious to know if you've been buying anything during this whole COVID phase and what you have bought this year. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.